Good morning, Mars, and welcome to Cement City Racing. Today is a big day because we have made some changes to the show. The recent news concerning the annual Gaslands tournament has finally made it to Cement City. And we here at Cement City Racing have decided to up our game. I will admit the Eastern Gaslands have not had a good track record with our winnings of the annual event. And starting from today, Cement City Racing is looking to change that fact. All of our big players have come out today for the start of a major event. This is the mass regional crossing that has only ever been attempted twice before, known in Cement City only as the Death Rally. The Death Rally is a cross-region sprint, traversing the wasteland that is the Dust Bowl with the intent of reaching the Eastern Archipelago. The rally is done in multiple legs, each ending in a checkpoint. At each checkpoint, the contestants may purchase and refit equipment as they deem necessary. Our contestants are lined up and eager to go. So without further ado, let us get this show started. Skux and Turbo kick things off, which is appropriate as we will be crossing the Dust Bowl. The Catfish's patron gang, the Dust Dragons, hold territory over the eastern stretch of the Dust Bowl. Riding in the death trap, Dr. Vitus is not to be outdone, and he swiftly passes the Catfish with a well-placed turbo boost. The death trap is totally capable of maintaining these speeds so long as Vitus does not crash into anything. He has had an impressive if risky performance so far, and there are talks of multiple sponsors courting him. Vitus drops a mine as his weapon systems activate as he passes the first gate. That is right, we have finally installed some weapon suppression systems into our contestants' rides. This is how they prefer to do it in the big leagues, and we want our contestants set up for that environment. That's why Sanadu in the 8 o'clock does not yet deploy her oil slick dropper. The weapon suppression system will not be an issue for the Azura though. As the driver, Azura, has still refused to outfit their car, also Azura, with any sort of weapons. They wish to succeed only on the merits of their driving, which is admirable if a bit idealistic. But they definitely open with a strong start. And speaking of the merits of good driving, Johnny Handbrake in the Roadrunner rolls off the line from a precarious position right next to the monster truck underdog. Johnny makes that tight turn, probably in an attempt to put some distance between the Roadrunner and the monster truck. A smart move because weapon suppression does not stop a monster truck's ram. Johnny's fancy driving has dissuaded the underdog, and Neon sends her monster truck towards the Catfish instead. This could be the end of the Junior Dust Dragon right here. The Catfish is not quite wrecked, but it is only barely hanging in there from the looks of it. This is a bold statement by Neon, considering she will soon be driving into Dust Dragon territory herself. The Barilans have some experience with Dust Dragon's territory, as they themselves have crossed the Eastern Dust Bowl to get here. Barry has expressed confidence in the return trip, and I say it is confidence well placed, especially with the rumors of their sponsorship circling around. Likely the Barilans' biggest rival in terms of firepower, the Load Brothers bring up the rear of the pack. They are not the fastest vehicle, but they are one of the best armed. It will be interesting to see how they approach a desert crossing with the cult-sponsored ice cream truck soft serve. Our contestants are now closing in on the first gate. All weapon systems go online the moment you touch the gate, so I am guessing the Barilans and the Load Brothers are just itching to get there. Getting access to their handguns probably will not save the Catfish though, as the Dust Dragon buggy is on its last legs. The driver, Turbo, will have to come up with something particularly crafty to get out of this situation. I guarantee no matter how fast they go, they will not be able to outpace the accelerating underdog. But it looks like Turbo is trying to amp up the speed nonetheless. They completely missed their pot shots at Doc Vitus, however it does look like they will be able to clear that mine. Vitus is currently in a precarious position and he needs to start driving with a bit more finesse. It is important to grab the lead in a sprint, but even on the Cement City streets, a nitro booster is a hard thing to take control of. And yes indeed, Vitus pushes it too far and wipes out. A flip would have sent them flying straight into the lead there, which might have been part of the plan, but in this case they just lose control and end up facing the wrong direction. It'll take Vitus a while to recover from that. The bounty hunter Xanadu has not been doing too well in the rankings. I personally attribute it to her car being a bit too well-rounded, and she has installed an oil slick dropper on there and has not used it even once. Use the dropper, Xanadu, that is why it is there. She catches up to the Asura now. Xanadu looks to be cranking up the speed, and yeah, she's shooting the Asura instead of dropping an oil slick. And of course, the Asura completely dodges it. Asura is easily the contestant in the best position at the moment. If they manage to keep control, they will have a clean shot to the lead. The contestants are now driving amongst the junk, and the destruction of junk will be remunerated. In the Death Rally, just like in the Salvage Show, any damage the contestants do to each other and to the junk will be rewarded in cans by Cement City Racing. This is how they can sustain themselves through the trip. Johnny Handbrake continues his beeline to the gate. Team Handbrake is equipped with SMGs and are not afraid to use them. Johnny ratchets up the gears as he goes, picking up speed. Neon was likely banking on taking the Catfish out of action with that first ram. It is a worthwhile gamble because the damage she does translates directly into cans. Spending time ramming things will slow down the underdog, however, and this is still a race first and foremost. The Catfish is blessed today as Turbo manages to get out of the way of the ram right at the last moment. If they build up enough speed, they might still escape. As the Dust Dragon boys have their lucky break, the Barilans advance. The tall boy is being maneuvered exceptionally well for such a large vehicle as they squeeze in between the two faster cars. The soft serve carries on down the middle of the track. It is still a ways from the gate and is taking a safe if uneventful path through the course. We have seen what the Load Brothers flamethrower can do from the back of the pack, and that might be their plan as of this moment. The contestants are all now very close to the first gate, so we can expect the bullets to start flying soon. I would also not be surprised to see some wipeouts given how recklessly people are driving. That said, there are Slime affiliates on the track, and the crowd back on Mars loves it when Slime affiliates drive badly. The Catfish is somehow not a smoldering wreck. Has decided to stay the course. It has geared up enough to reach top speed, and it looks like the intent is just to ram straight through all these barricades. I guarantee the Catfish will crash and burn before that happens. Any time now, the Catfish will come screeching to a halt. I am absolutely certain it will not make it all the way through. And the Catfish proceeds to make it all the way through. Its sturdy ram helped it to not lose control on the way there, and a combination of driving skill and just plain good luck saw them through that mess. Dr. Vitus is still recovering from his wipeout and has stopped dead in his tracks, while the performance car 8 o'clock just makes it past the first gate. Xanadu deftly threads her car between the tall boy and the tire barrier, and comes in shy of driving into a stack of barrels. This would be an excellent spot for an oil slick drop, but she needs to get rid of that stack with her machine gun. Xanadu finally hits something, clearing a direct path to her goal, and racking up the cans on the side. But all that will not be enough to catch up to Asura, who has had a clean shot at the lead since the start. All they will have to do now is maintain control and they can exit the stage firmly in the lead. With that, Asura has made a distinct advantage for themselves for the rest of this leg. Johnny Handbrake and Xanadu have to maintain a high speed throughout if they want to catch up. Handbrake was reckless with the Roadrunner earlier, but now he is getting it back into control and into a high gear. He quickly closes the gap between him and Xanadu, ending within a hair's breadth of the orange car. Team Handbrake opens fire at the tall boy. Barry and his boys take cover from the volley. They could have taken out Xanadu with that volley, but they opted for the bigger truck. Given the situation, Johnny Handbrake might be in a racing mood. Neon and the underdog could attempt another ram here, But it is not a sure thing, and she has spent plenty of time not racing. Neon tries for a beeline to the end of the stage and sends the underdog right over Doc Vitus's waiting landmine. As Neon goes into a slide, she manages to evade most of the landmine's explosion. The underdog's momentum sends it further than it would have gone otherwise, obliterating a stack of barrels on the way and somehow managing to avoid a collision with Dr. Vitus. That is some fancy driving. Neon attempts to take out the catfish with her handgun, but the buggy is moving too fast at this point and is a much harder target. The catfish simply will not go down. The tall boy finally reaches the gate, which activates their considerable amount of weapons. Their driver tries to avoid the pileup as they catch up to the other cars. They drive into a large barricade, but the driver manages to remain in control. Despite its size, the tall boy is being deftly driven and they are put into a prime position to open fire. They send all of their firepower towards Xanadu in the 8 o'clock. The Baridans are clearly not interested in a race, they just want other people to get out of the way. Bringing up the rear are the brothers Load. Right up ahead of them is a big cluster of vehicles, and that is exactly what they are after. The soft serve surges forward, bringing its flamethrower to bear. They are too far away to catch anyone but the Roadrunner in the blast of the flamethrower. It does not look like they did much damage, but I do see that Johnny Handbrake's car is now on fire. The Load brothers can't get too confident with that flamethrower, it only has so many shots in it. So far we have only had Azura Place for the next stage, but I can see that will be changing soon. Like a critter out of hell, the catfish races forward trying to get away from the gunfire and the approaching monster truck. They are going at top speed and Turbo uses the opportunity to steady the vehicle. They manage to clear the gap, the second car to finish and proceed to the next stage. Dr. Vitus is still starting up his vehicle as Xanadu in the 8 o'clock pulls away from the cluster of contestants. It looks like their investment in a vehicle with horsepower finally pays off as they hit the end of the stage and place. The Roadrunner is going at speed, but it is still a fair distance from the end of the stage. They are also very much on fire and their car will take damage so long as they do not stop to put it out. Johnny Handbrake, however, has a reputation to uphold, and he uses the car's considerable momentum to throw it even further forward and finish the stage. Neon has spent too long ramming other vehicles and is making a point to avoid Dr. Vitus, who will explode if she wrecks him. She moves up, obliterating other barricade on the way. She takes a pot shot at Vitus but completely misses. The tall boy rolls up, not quite fast enough to clear the same amount of space as the performance cars. However, this does leave them free to shoot at Neon, who is the most opportune target from where they are. They take out a good chunk of the monster truck. Just last week they did take out the underdog in the same fashion to dramatic effect. But hot on their heels are the Load brothers, who seem very keen to use up some more ammunition. Another glancing hit from the flamethrower, but the tall boy is still set on fire. It looks like at least 2 vehicles will be rolling into the next stage ablaze. Dr. Vitus finally gets the death trap rolling once more. His guaranteed to explode vehicle has saved him from a lot of grief this race, as the other contestants were hesitant to even approach him. He takes this opportunity, cranks the gears up on the death trap, and reverses straight into a placing. Predictably, it looks like the last placings are going to be these lower, larger vehicles. However, they will be coming into the second stage with the ability to open fire from the get-go. That said, some of the more dedicated racers are already in top gear and moving at top speed. Finishing is a matter of either going as fast as you can or striking a balance between offense and speed. As our contestants race towards the Cement City outskirts, This leg of the death rally is far from over. We will cut them off with our camera crews to make sure you folks on Mars get the best possible shots of the action. Catch you on the flip side, the beginning of Stage 2.